So what happens once your credit score is built? You now need to manage it. The first thing you need to understand is you have to have sight of what is your credit score. There are too many people in South Africa that are walking around, taking out credit loans, signing credit agreements, but they have no idea what their credit score actually is. So it's like building a house with no foundation. You're just building and you're hoping that this thing is going to be supported, but you have no foundation. It's important to have sight. And as I said, you can download the app, which is an app by Experian, and there you will be able to get sight of what is your actual credit score. And it also gives you an indication of where are you doing great things to build your credit score and where might you be making a little bit of a mistake and actually knocking your credit score, right? So there are things that you can do to improve your credit score, but there's obviously the inverse, and these are things that you can do that will hurt your credit score. And we'll talk a little bit about some of those things quickly, right? So first things first, make sure you've got sight. You get a free credit report from the major credit bureaus, one every single year. But what's nice about Experian, they've gone a step ahead, and now you can get a credit report every single month. Man, you can even log into that app every single day. It's called the Up App. If you want to keep up with your credit score, you can log in every single day and really plan, how do I make sure that I have purposeful financial decision making? Because every single time I make a financial decision, I keep my credit score at the back of my mind because I'm investing into it, right? So then the next thing is, you've now got this credit score. How do you manage and build it? One, you need to make sure that you are paying on time. If you go to the bank and you sign a credit agreement and you say, I'm going to pay every single month on the 28th, you have to make sure you're paying on the 28th. Why? Because it is a system that reports that you have missed the payment. So the system doesn't know that when you sat in your house, your boss sent you a letter to say salaries will be late this month, so you're going to get paid on the 30th, and you're not worried because you know on the 30th you'll be able to pay. The reality is your credit agreement says you're going to pay on the 28th, which means that you've breached the contract if you pay on the 30th, especially if you didn't pick up the phone and tell the credit provider that, hey guys, I'm actually only going to be able to make the payment on the 30th because my salary is going to be late. Step number one. Step number two, you need to have credit. We can't check your credit behavior if you don't have credit. It's as simple as that. I know people want to argue about it, but in reality, that's just what it is. If you don't have credit, we can't assess your credit behavior. So we don't know how you are when there is credit in front of you. I always say this, but they say there's a saying about a man cheating, a man is as good as his options or something like that. So if you got no options, it doesn't mean you're not a cheat. It just means you got no options. I mean, really, right? If we don't put marshmallows in front of you like they do with the kids and say instant gratification versus delayed gratification, if you don't eat the marshmallows and you've got delayed gratification, we can judge you on that. But if there were never marshmallows to begin with, how can we say you have discipline and you have delayed gratification? Because it's never been in front of you, right? So that's why we need to be able to give you the credit so that we can assess how you behave around credit. Are you a mureki and you just go splurging because they've given you this access to credit line and you think that money is also your money, right? So it's important to have the credit lines. But it's also important to have a mix of different credit types, right? We know that there's good debt, bad debt, secured lending, unsecured lending. Secured lending is usually credit lines that are attached to an asset, right? And then unsecured is credit lines that are attached to no asset. So your things like your overdraft, your credit card, your personal loan, revolving loan. And on the more secured side, you'll get your home loan, your vehicle asset finance loans, which is a car loan or a student loan, right? So you got to have different kind of credit mixes. But you also have time and skin in the game. How long have you had your credit lines? Because that will also determine whether or not you're somebody that can be assessed behavior. So for instance, if they're assessing for a home loan, some banks go as far as 24 months before the actual date of you applying. That's how they check. Because you know what? Banks know that some of us, what we do is we try to fix our credit in 6 months and then we go apply for a home loan. Guys, you can't be fixing your credit card to apply for more credit. Your credit record or credit score to apply for more credit. You do it as an ongoing part of managing your personal finances. Right. The next thing, credit utilization. Ooh, it's a big one. Because somehow we all think that if the bank has given you a credit limit of 5,000, you must blow the whole 5,000. Masichava, that's not how it works. If they've given you 5,000 rand, you need to use as little as possible because we call that credit utilization. So remember, I said credit is a facility. When you use it, you turn it into a liability. So if you keep turning every single time they give you a credit limit into a liability, it means that actually you're living above your means. Because what you're saying to the banks is that you need your salary of, let's say, 10,000 rand plus the bank's extra 5,000 rand every single month for you to get through the month. You become what is deemed as credit dependent. Right? So credit utilization needs to be limited to at least below 50%. So if you get given a credit limit of 5,000, use at least less than 2.5 to show that you're just using it to facilitate financial goals, not that you are dependent on it. Another indicator of or debt dependence or credit dependence is consistently looking for credit. You cannot be sitting every single website you are sitting on, you are consenting to credit checks. I just want to check how much this car is. I just want to check if they'll give me a personal loan. I just want to check if they'll give me an overdraft. No, Chubby, no, we don't do that. Because what it does, again, is make you look like you're credit dependent. So it's absolutely important. And that's why I say if you download the app, right, the Up app, you will be able to see which are some of the things that you are doing that are hurting your credit score. The other one is defaulting. People generally default on their loans. If you default on your loans and you think you can run away from it, because people ask me this question, can I abscond my loans and then let prescription come into place? Guys, you can't do that. You can't abscond your loans and hope that prescription is going to help you and the skoloto is going to go away because it would have passed the prescription time. No, it's going to hurt your credit score, and ultimately it starts becoming a hindrance for you when you want to partner with a credit provider to be able to achieve some of your financial goals. So absolutely important. Right. Then people say to me, but what happens if you keep checking your credit score? Because that could also be seen as a credit inquiry. Well, essentially, unless you are a credit provider, checking your credit score does not hurt your credit profile. The reason for this is that if I'm an employer, for instance, or I'm an individual and I want to manage my personal finances and I check my credit score, it means that I'm not checking it for credit purposes. It's different when you've got Nicolette Mashile loans checking your credit score, because that it means that the intention is to get credit. But if you've got Nicolette Mashile as an individual checking her own credit score for managing personal finances, that's a different story altogether. So it's important. But also, please stop applying for credit at weird places. Like, guys, mahlangane loans. What's happening there? Right? It's important to make sure that you are going to registered credit providers if you're going to apply for any types of loans. So do make sure that you are taking care of that. The last thing I want to talk to you about, and again, you can check this either on Experian or on their app, is to check your details. Right? Sometimes if you don't pull your credit report, you will not know if there was identity theft under your name. You will see their loans that you've never seen. I mean, if you see a sports shop where they sell sneakers and you've never walked in your life in that shop, but you have an account there, then you know that there was some level of identity theft. But you will not know this if you don't ever have sight of your credit report. And that's why we emphasize seeing and actually physically seeing, holding, printed out, have your credit report so that you know what is actually going on in terms of your credit profile. It is absolutely important. It helps with managing your credit, one, but also it helps in the general scheme of managing your personal finances, because identity theft is very dangerous. People can literally go out and take out loans in your name. They can open store accounts in your names. And you don't want to find yourself in a situation where you now have to go to the police, fill out affidavits because somebody has done this. And usually a lot of people, they only pick this up when they're going to apply for credit for something really serious in their life. You might be looking for a home loan, and now all of a sudden they're telling you about that account there where you took cell phones and you don't even remember opening that account, but it's because somebody else stole your identity. So this is one of the reasons why knowing and managing your credit is of absolute importance, but most specifically for me, It gives you the independence to be able to go out there and open credit facilities or use credit facilities to be able to fund and finance your own financial goals. I'm going to leave it at here today. Please do remember, none of my videos constitute as financial advice. If you are, however, looking for financial advice, please speak to somebody who is certified and registered with the FSCA.